Welcome all to NFL Pub Hub right here on Pub Sports Radio, NFL Sunday's best show. We have had a wild weekend at Pub Sports Radio, absolutely packed with horses, UFC, college football. It is now time for NFL to take center stage. I'm coming off a 6-2 week in college football, so feel very good rolling into NFL today. And we have a great show. Bano getting us started, then Mr. Sean Higgs, then Brizzy, Mr. Gokster, Marley Guns, and Dutch Boy Fresh closing it all up. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. We got John Garcia ready to get to work. Damon Santore, Cove Coleone, the Vegas King in the house. Razor Sharp Picks on his way back home from a great weekend with the boys at Santa Anita for the Breeders' Cup. Man, Bear, Pig, Justin McElvee's got his action in. Stacks play of the day. Lamar Jackson interception for Justin McElvee. We got my man Ecom Bobo Henny in the house. James Parm ready to get to work. Subhuman Gaucho, Harold Williams. Great to see all of you guys. Harold Williams on KC Moneyline looking very strong there. The Frankfurt game in action as we speak. Teflon Don says, tough card today. Need some help, chat. Well, you're in the right place. There's Bo Jackson ready to get to work. I like my card a lot. I almost beat every line move. One I didn't beat. That's the Bengals. Bengals minus 2.5, juiced as well. That was a mistake. But with A.J. Klein out for the Buffalo Bills, they're already down Matt Milano. I'm very comfortable with my spot on the Bengals. You'll hear people on the other side, though, on today's show. I have Buffalo Cincinnati first half over 23.5 and full game over 48.5. All of my bets were on Tuesday. And nothing else. Actually, the Buffalo, the Bengals and the overs were on Monday. Giants plus 2.5 and Giants money line plus 120 was on Tuesday morning, I believe. And then the rest was Tuesday night after the show. Rams, Packers under 39.5. Commanders plus 3.5. That cost a dime. That was minus 120. The Saints minus 7.5. Destroy that market move. Buccaneers plus 3. Beat that. That's 2.5 now. And then the Chargers, Jets under 41.5. There we go. Aaron, ready to go. Dab fan. We got Mr. Vape, North Ender, Bo Jackson, David Morrissey. It is a great group. Cove Coleone, play of the day is Baltimore. First quarter minus 0.5 point. In that game, in that exact bet will be talked about on this very show. For you members of Pub Sports Radio that do our Cappers contest show, we cashed with the Steelers minus 2.5 on Thursday night. So we're 22-17-2 in the Circa Millions. Not bad. We need to have a day here today. Colts minus 2.5. I'm very nervous about. Bengals minus 1.5. I'm comfortable with. Browns minus 7.5. That's moved to 11.5. Should Deshaun Watson be worth that many points to the line? That's questionable. And then Rams plus 3. Rams plus 3 had 93% of the votes. That's how much people dislike the Packers. And at this point, we don't think, and the market is telling us that Matt Stafford won't be starting, but nothing is official. We need to get that information as soon as possible. If anybody gets it, Brett Rippon would start for the Rams. These are the big storylines for injury-wise here. Deshaun Watson is starting for the Browns. Daniel Jones is starting for the Giants. Jaron Hall is starting for the Minnesota Vikings at quarterback, and Joshua Dobbs is backing him up. Taylor Heineke is starting for the Falcons. Clayton Tune making his NFL debut, starting for the Arizona Cardinals. The Texans running back Dameon Pierce is out. Commanders wide receiver Curtis Samuel is out. And the Bills are missing A.J. Klein tonight, which, it's all about making money. I'm a fan of the Buffalo Bills. They're very close to my home here. But I was happy that A.J. Klein is out. Money talks, and I'm on the Bengals. Great to see everybody in the chat. We got Andre ready to go. Slatsy. Cody Norton says, Nordy's pick of the day. Seahawks moneyline plus 250. Ooh-wee. We got Spenny Penny Bombs, Teflon Dom, Primetime 99, Birdie. A great group here. Banana Boat, Eric Jones. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And a quick look at my co-host in Bankroll Blitz, Troy Torrance's action here. He is the Bucks plus 3. He is a parlay with the Ravens money line and the Falcons money line. He's got the Browns minus 2 and the Ravens money line. That's a Browns -2, Ravens money line. That works out to -120. He's got the Eagles -3, the Bengals -2.5, Jets Chargers under 41.5, and he has a mixed parlay. That's Dolphins money line, Ravens double result, and Bucks money line. That's at +970. Going for a big score here. LJ from H-Town's got Bucks Texans under 40, Eagles -3, Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown. Cam Raphael has the Fins +7.5 on a teaser. Yeah, that's but there's still time. That team. The problem is that the Chiefs defense has been so good. All right, let's get to work. Thank you guys for being here. This is my favorite show. I love NFL Pub Hub. I love all of the cappers coming on. I love the tracking everybody's action. I love the excitement in the chat. I love everything about this show. And your first guest is coming off being our champion. He was our season 2 champion, NFL Pub Hub out of 23 cappers. And this season hasn't gone as well, but we believe in him immensely and love having him hitting lead off. So please welcome, and let's get rolling. Please welcome from Canada's black and yellow steel town, Hamilton, Ontario, Mr. Ian Cameron to the show. Bano, how are you, my friend?
The last 2 weeks have been really, really good. A nice, much needed 2 weeks after a sluggish beginning to the NFL season. So hopefully more of the same today. Let's go.
Let's go. Bobano gets his card started at 1 p.m. Eastern. Minnesota Vikings 4-4, 3-1 on the road at the Atlanta Falcons, 4-4, 3-1 at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Injuries for the Vikings. Defensive lineman Dean Lowry is out with a groin injury. Guard Chris Reed out with a foot injury. Linebacker Brian Asamoah has an ankle injury. He's questionable. And offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw also questionable. For the Falcons, the big story, Drake London out with a groin injury. I probably should have put that on the big story. So if I'm going to put Curtis Samuel out there, why wouldn't I have Drake London? That's a big story. So he is out. And so is safety DeMarco Helms is out as well. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one and decide and listen to Bobano's action. Spread-wise, there's been a big move towards the Minnesota Vikings. This opened up at 4. It went to 4.5. I saw 5s out there. Since then, it's all come to the Vikings. Vikings are 3.5-point dogs in this one. Take a look at the total for this. We're sitting here with a total of 38. Let's move over to Pinnacle. These will all be Pinnacle line moves. 38.5 at Pinnacle, which means that this has gone up. This went up at 10:52 this morning. That was 16 minutes ago. They're the only book on the board hanging a hook on this. Everyone else is at 38. And Pinnacle, the sharpest book, has moved to 38.5. And then we get to the cash flow here for our first spot on the board. It's 50-50 with the tickets, but 79% of the cash is on the Vikings. And it's 72% of the tickets and 80% of the cash on the under. And yet Pinnacle just moved it up a half point. Interesting market moves in this one. Interesting injury situation in this one. Take it away, Bobano. How are you getting paid, my friend?
Yeah, I'm actually on 2 plays here. I debated whether I was going to go with Atlanta in the first half or Atlanta full game. But then I looked at their home games this year. They've had a lot of slow starts where they've really not played great in the first half. They played better after halftime. So we're going to go officially with -3.5 here on Atlanta at minus 104. Yeah, minus 104 at Pinnacle with Atlanta. And I'm also going to go over the total. I mean, this to me, there's a few games with these low totals in the high 30s today where I'm going to take a shot with a couple overs here. Not every game. Like, I don't think I want Arizona Cleveland over. Not with Clayton Tune going on the road for his first start against that defense. But in this game, I'm going to probably take a chance with it. I upgrade the Atlanta Falcons offense going from Desmond Ridder to Taylor Heineke. I personally do. I personally think Atlanta's offense right now is better with him at quarterback. This is not saying Desmond Ridder can eventually be good, but right now he is not a good NFL quarterback. I think everybody universally can agree on that. And Taylor Heineke gives them a better chance for offensive success. Now, they are going to miss Drake London. That is a huge, huge hole to fill at the wide receiver position. So if you're the Falcons and Arthur Smith, you're going to need more out of Van Jefferson. You're going to need more out of Mac Hollins. Kadero Hodge, Scotty Midley, all these guys got to step up. Kyle Pitt's going to have a nice game. That's a huge loss. But I think they can manage it because I think the quarterback is just so much more adept and won't make bad decisions and won't be as woefully inaccurate at times as Ridder has been. On the flip side, look, Minnesota's playing good football. They're not an easy team to go against, but I saw the Vikings in the preseason. I saw Jaren Hall play. At no point did I think he was ready to be an NFL starting quarterback in a meaningful game based on what I saw from him in the preseason. So I think this is a tough assignment. The one thing Atlanta does have is a solid enough defense, and a defense that apparently, based on all the quotes I've read, Jimmy, they're pissed. They're pissed that they let happen what happened last week against Will Levis in his first ever start against Tennessee. They said, we are better than that, and we're going to show it this week. This is a mad, angry, and I still think solid defense. And I think they're going to show it here today. So I like Atlanta minus 3.5. And just because the total's so low, and I think this Atlanta offense is better with Heineke at under center. And the fact you could see Hall throw a pick 6 or 2 at fumbles that could lead to short fields. I also grabbed a little bit over here, 37.5 minus 108 at DraftKings with that.
Over 37.5 at minus 108, and seeing Pinnacle move that to 38.5. I like it. I like it. I don't know if it's going to be an addition.
No weather, of course, in Atlanta, so that's another factor.
Yeah, no, I admit, I get it. I get it. Falcons minus 3.5 and minus 104 as well for Bano. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, Seattle Seahawks at Baltimore Ravens. Seahawks 5-2, 2-1 on the road at these Ravens, 6-2, 2-1 at home at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. 69 Fahrenheit, sunny, 7 miles per hour. The Seahawks have Phil Haynes, a guard with a calf injury, questionable. Anthony Bradford, a questionable. This is a pretty healthy group. For the Ravens, Morgan Moses, their offensive tackle, is doubtful. But Marcus Williams, free safety, Daryl Worley, cornerback, and Rocky Yassin, cornerback, who is illness, they're all listed as questionable. We've heard from Harbaugh. Harbaugh says they're all in, so they're good to go. This was a spot where when I initially looked at it, I immediately wanted the Seahawks with the points, and I needed to be talked off of it. I didn't flip to the other side, and this market's moved further towards the Ravens. They're now 6.5 point favorites at Pinnacle. It's pretty wild, So, 5.5 it opens at, it moves to 6, it goes back to 5.5, and then it gets to 6.5. It moves to 6.5 on Friday. It was actually on Saturday. On Saturday. So that's the situation that we are dealing with from a spread perspective. From a total perspective here, we have a 44. It is juiced to the under. This opened up at 43.5 at Pinnacle. It's up to 44. And then when we get over to the cash flow for this one, let's get over to the Ravens spot here. This is such a fascinating game. I find the market really does help indicate what's going on in Ravens football games. And the fact that 54% of the tickets and 69% of the cash is on the Seahawks, and we moved another point. Then we have 32% of the tickets and 44% of the cash on the under, but we see that climbing. Take it away, Bano. Bet number 2, or I should say game number 2, because you may have multiple action on this one. Take it away, Seahawks Ravens.
Yeah, this is another side and total for me. And it sounds like, just when I was listening in the background before you brought me in here, that there's a lot of Baltimore love today in this game. Not me, not this guy. I think this is too many points. I don't love this spot for Baltimore. They're coming off 2 very good wins in a row where, Detroit, Arizona, not so much, but they were in control. They have 2 divisional battles on deck after this. Cleveland and Cincinnati. And I've seen enough of the Ravens over the years to know, with Harbaugh and Lamar, just when you start to get really excited, 2 phenomenal performances in a row, there's an egg that is about to be laid. There's a clunker just waiting in the weeds for the Baltimore Ravens. This might be that day. That's number 1. Number 2, go look in the way Seattle's played on the road this year. They went to Detroit, beat a really good Lions team in an early start kickoff. Look at the way they played against Cincinnati. Don't be fooled by the Cincinnati game. They should have won that game. They were in the red zone all day against the Bengals in that game. Another early start game, and they battled right to the end. It's just too many points. And to me, this is a dubious spot for this Ravens team, in my opinion, going into this matchup here. So I think it's too many points here. By the way, Pete Carroll, you know what his record has been ATS in these early start games? You would think he's coached Seattle all these years, these tough travel spots when you're playing an early start game as a West Coast team. 16-9 against the spread in these early start games. For some reason, the Seahawks have played good football when they've gone to the East Coast, including for these early games, 1 p.m., where they've at the very least been competitive. in these spots. So for me here, it's going to be, and by the way, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, the last 24 tries, they've been favored by more than a field goal, 7-17 against the spread. That's not very good. So I like Seattle here. We'll go with the Seahawks here. Now, you're going to have to step it up a little bit compared to how they played, especially on offense against Cleveland last week. But I'll take Seattle here, plus 6.5, minus 108 at Pinnacle. I'm also going to grab the over here, 43.5, minus 110 at PointsBet. The way I see it is, Ravens, if they do get away from Seattle, it probably does go over the total. And I think still a good chance to go 2-0 with these. So Seahawks over the total for me here.
Seahawks plus 6.5 and over 43.5. I'm very comfortable not being involved in this one. I wanted to bet the Cardinals so badly last week. I felt like, you're talking about the situation, the Ravens have divisional battles coming up. Do they really care about the Seahawks game? I didn't bet the Cardinals last week. I did use them in our cappers contest just so I could have something, even if I was afraid to put my money down on it. And then I'm pretty fortunate that they covered with the onside recovery.
I get the feeling this is Ravens Colts all over again, honestly. Seahawks just are there the whole way and sneak it out at the end. Remember, Baltimore lost at home to Indy earlier this year. Baltimore can throw up a shitbag performance. I worry that today might be that day.
Let's move on to the next spot on the board for Bano. 1 p.m. Eastern. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-4, 2-1 on the road. Houston Texans 3-4, 2-1 at home at Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas. For the Bucs, Matt Filer, offensive guard, is out, and Vita Vea is questionable. And then Kayvon Merriweather with the ankle injury is also questionable. And, it'll be Greg Gaines who will come in, if Vita Vea is unable to be there. And then Aaron Stinney will take over on the other side with Filer sidelined on the offensive guard spot. And then we have for the Texans, Dameon Pierce out. And he has not been as good. I thought he was going to be he was so good in his rookie season. I thought now, with CJ behind him, that teams will have to defend the pass and he'll have more opportunities. That really hasn't come to fruition here. But Devin Singletary will get a lot of run today. Also, tight end Brevin Jordan is out. So is Robert Woods, all out. And then Sheldon Rankins is questionable with the knee injury. So, with Robert Woods out, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Noah Brown, everything should be okay still there. Let's take a look at the line history here. It is down to 2. It is down to 2. I like that. There's a 2.5 showing here at Pinnacle, but that plus 2.5 for the Bucs is plus 106. So I like all of that. I got in at 3 for the Buccaneers, and I'm comfortable and happy seeing this market move. From a total perspective, let's go over there. We're sitting at a 39.5. It's very juiced to the over, so it's really a 40. This one opened up at 38.5. So this is a low total that has climbed. And then when we get over to the cash flow for this one, 55% of the tickets, 59% of the cash is on the Texans. Market's moving towards the Buccaneers. I like all of that. 58% of the tickets and 78% of the cash is on the under, and the total's climbing. So, tie together those interesting facts however you please to get that cash. Let's hear how Bobano's getting that cash. Buccaneers, Texans, take it away.
Yeah, I'm actually on the other side of you on this one. I like Houston here, minus 144 money line in this one. Tampa Bay coming back down to earth. Schedule hasn't been easy, obviously. They played the Lions and the Bills 2 of the last 3 games. I don't like what I'm seeing from the offense, and Baker Mayfield's regressing by the week. That I don't like. The offensive line's had some issues lately as well. That I don't like. Houston, I continuously think upgrade them and think better of them the more I watch them. I mean, they pummeled Jacksonville. They had the blowout against Pittsburgh. And even in their losses to Carolina last week, Carolina was off a bye week. I can excuse them for that. They were sloppy. They failed to finish drives. But their defense still played pretty well in that game. And they actually were dominant. They won the box score as well. They actually outgained the Carolina Panthers, even though they lost that game. So to be honest with you, I think the Texans deserved a better fate last week against Carolina. CJ Stroud, the rookie, has done a nice job, efficient, not turning the ball over very much. Obviously, you worry about the running back position a little bit with Dameon Pierce out, but Devin Singletary's a veteran back. He can handle the load for one day. I like that the receiving core is healthier today. Tank Dell being back is significant. Nico Collins has obviously been great, and I'm with Spenny in terms of the prop on Collins. I think it's a good prop over his receiving yards there and that. But I like Houston here. And as far as coaching goes, it's a no-brainer who I'd rather have. I'd rather have this young, cutting-edge, up-and-comer, D'Amico Ryans, who I think has already done great work here with Houston. I'll take him any day over Todd Bowles. So give me Houston here, minus 144.
Houston minus 144 here for Bobano. We roll on. Next up on the board, 1 p.m. Eastern, Washington Commanders 3-5, 2-2 on the road at the New England Patriots, 2-6, 1-3 at home at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, 59 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour. Curtis Samuel is out with a toe injury. They have depth at wide receiver. They should be fine there. It's the center, Ricky Stromberg, with a knee injury out, and safety Percy Butler with a calf injury. For the Patriots, as always, just a laundry list of questionables here. Who do we know is out? Devontae Parker, concussion, out, and Calvin Anderson is sick. So, this wide receiving core for the Patriots, who have been bad all year, and yes, you can obviously blame Mac Jones for that, is losing playmakers by the second, and they already lost Kendrick Bourne in the fourth quarter of last week's game to an ACL, and he's done for the season. So it's getting weaker and weaker in that situation there. And questionable, I mean, it's just everybody, but they usually are good to go. The big names on the questionable list, of course, offensive tackle Trent Brown with ankle and knee, defensive lineman Christian Barmore with a knee injury, defensive lineman Davin Godchaux, Theatric Wise, Josh Uche, Jawan Bentley, cornerback Jonathan Jones, all official here. And Slatsy says Brett Rippon is officially starting for the Rams, and the market was kind of indicating that was
beginning to get too high. Beginning to get too high. Green Bay minus 4.5. It already is too high, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about that spot here. But
not
this
an
is one of my
play,
favorite.
but I did grab some Rams plus the points in that game. It's too high now.
Oh, I love it, and I love it. We're going to talk about that spot here, but this is one of my favorite spots on the board. I just thought it was an overreaction of the trade deadline. Everybody's saying that the Commanders have given up. I got plus 3.5. I was shocked to get plus 3.5. We've seen other teams like the Broncos cut Randy Gregory, and what happened? Their defense looked better. Sometimes you need a message to be sent to the guys in the room, and I don't think this message is we give up. I really don't. I mean, clearly they're not going to make some run for the playoffs, but this isn't just we give up. I love having the Commanders at plus 3.5. Right now, the Commanders are at 2.5. I guess they're really 2.5 here. But that's a full point move for me. And then total wise here, we are sitting at 40.5. It is juiced to the over. This opened up at 40. It got up to 41. It got up to 42. It was at 42 this morning at 9:30. So we've had a big move to the under, a 1.5 move towards that under. And when we get over to the cash flow here for this one, sorry, let me move over here. We have 45% of the tickets, 45% of the cash on the Commanders, 39% of the tickets, and 78% of cash on the over. And we just had a big move towards the under. I'm using this in the contest. I bet this with confidence. Take it away, Bobano, Commanders, Patriots.
Yeah, Washington to me is honestly a bet against team until I saw who they played this week, New England, because I want to fade New England every bit as much. So for me, this is not a bet on the side here. And I think the side is very difficult. What are you going to get from Washington? What are you going to get from New England? Who you're right, their defense. This is not Bill Belichick's typical defense. This is a really, really weak New England defense right now. And that's concerning to me going into this game. So I want nothing on the side. What I do like is this over. 40.5 minus 110 at BetMGM. And I'm a little surprised they've been betting this under here. Let me explain why. New England's offense has shown life the last few weeks. Okay, we've seen Mac Jones be able to move the football. Everyone's going nuts about Parker being out. What, that guy that dropped that sure pass against the Raiders in that game? We're really going to miss him? Seriously? I mean, it's not like he's a game. He's good. He's been good, but he's also had some key drops. He's not been reliable every time they've thrown to him. So Kendrick Bourne is a big loss, no doubt. But, DeMario Douglas has shown me something. They still have Juju Smith-Schuster, who's a veteran receiver. So there's still some opportunities here for this New England offense. Again, and plus Washington's defense, which is already bad the last couple of weeks. I mean, Philly picked them apart. Now you're without two of your best players on that side of the football that you traded away, Chase Young and DeMontez Sweat. I mean, that is definitely something that you would get concerned about. Where's that pass rush going to come from I just don't see it. You need a pass rush on Mac Jones. If you can get a pass rush on him, Mac Jones is not good and he can make mistakes. I don't think you're going to see much pass rush anymore from this Washington team. So I think New England can move the ball and score points. And I think Sam Howell can. Sam Howell can throw the ball around. I don't mind that Samuel is out. You got Dotson, you got McLaurin, you've got Crowder, who's been around the block for a bunch of different teams. He can play at receiver. Washington's got tons of depth at receiver. I think they score their share of points against just a shell of their former self, New England defense. So I like points here. And we're not asking for a big shootout, 40.5. It's a low total, over 40.5 for me.
We roll on. Next up for Bano, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Indianapolis Colts 3-5, 2-1 on the road. The Carolina Panthers 1-6, 1-2 at home. We're at Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. 73 Fahrenheit, sunny. 3 miles per hour is the winds for the Colts. Tackle Braden Smith out. Cornerback Juju Brents out. Linebacker Zaire Franklin doubtful. This defense has just been absolutely atrocious of late. For the Panthers, Laviska Shenault out. Linebacker Justin Houston out. And linebacker Claudin Charles out. And then Von Bell, doubtful. So also DJ Shark is questionable and cornerback Dante Jackson questionable. So injury issues on both sides here. Let's take a look at the line history first and foremost before Bobano takes us home here. We are sitting here with the Colts now at -1.5. So this opened up at -3. That -3 was a +102. There was a time when you could have got it at even money. So, it was, the market's just been moving constantly towards the Panthers. And this 1.5 showed its face last night at 9:39 p.m. Other books haven't moved it to the 1.5. Let's take a look at the total then on the next spot on the board here. The total for this is sitting at 44.5. It is juiced to the over at Pinnacle. BetCris, Bovada moved it to 45. This is a total that opened up at, move over here. Where is it? It opened up at 45.5. So we've had U-shaped movement on it. This got down all the way down to 43.5 and has been climbing this morning back to 44.5. That is our situation right now. Arthur Mead Jr. with the $10 dono. Arthur, thank you so much. That means so much to us. What a blessing our action with a $10 dono of your hard-earned money. Thank you, Arthur Mead Jr. That means a ton, my man. Cash-wise here, 65% of the tickets, 77% of the cash is on the Carolina Panthers. Market moving in their direction. From the total scenario, we have 38% of the tickets and 57% of the cash on the under. Bobano, take it away here. We got 2 games after this, so we got to kind of be tight. Colts, Panthers.
Yeah, this is another side and total. I like the Panthers here in this one. And I've just completely soured on Indianapolis. And I hope this is not the week I get burned for doing this, because I backed Indy a lot this year, including last week against the Saints. But that defense is miserable, and I just don't think it's going to get much better. I think it is what it is at this point. So +2.5, -110 at the score bet, +2.5, -110 with Carolina. And this is probably one of my favorite totals of the day as far as the over is concerned. Now, I don't like that it's moved up a little bit because I got 43.5, but we'll still endorse it for an official play. Over 44.5, -110. At FanDuel here for this over. I mean, the Colts are an over machine. They're an over team. You can't bet Colts games anyway, total-wise, other than over right now, because Gardner Minshew and the offense can do enough. They play fast. They're really getting to the line of scrimmage quickly, too. They're playing with some tempo. Minshew's good enough that he can still, move the football, and they're good enough with their receivers, Pittman and Pierce and Josh Downs, that they can still make plays. They've got Taylor and Moss, the 2 running backs. Good O-line. They can still move the ball, but their defense is horrible. That's absolutely awful. That was a Saints offense that we've ripped this season for underachieving, going into Indy and doing a number on that Colt defense. So if New Orleans can do that to Indianapolis, Carolina with Bryce Young and the offense, which is still a work in progress, I think they're going to have their best day of the season today. Bryce Young in that offense. And DJ Chark is going to play, it looks like. Schefter's reporting DJ Chark is in. And the reason I like Carolina as well, you don't think for a second Frank Reich is staying up till 3 a.m. in the morning every night this week to devise a game plan to beat this fucking team after he got canned by the Indianapolis Colts. This game means a little extra something to him. He won't say it publicly because he's not that kind of guy. But, deep down inside, he wants this one. And I think they get this one. Carolina did show improvement last week off their bye. Carolina plus the points in the over here.
We roll on 2 games left, and they're monster games on Bobano's card. These 2 games are going to be talked about a ton. We're moving over to Cowboys, Eagles. Cowboys 5-2, 2-2 on the road. Eagles 7-1, 3-0 at home. Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 63 Fahrenheit, sunny, 7 miles per hour. I had a vividness bias of Dallas coming into Philadelphia and losing. And I immediately wanted to bet Philadelphia immediately, and I refrained. For me, with Jalen Hurts, running the ball twice last week. No, I mean, he's still playing phenomenally well. The defense looking susceptible. I stayed off of it. And Tyron Smith now going to be good to go. We expect him to be good to go. And for the Eagles, Cam Jurgens, the guard, we thought he was going to be able to play today. He's not going to be able to play. Jordan Davis is going to be able to play, which is very, very big. Bradley Roby still out with the shoulder injury. And so, I stayed off of the Eagles here. And, I've got a lot of action. I don't need to force it. But this was the first play that just jumped out at me. Right now, the Eagles are -3 at -108. There were 3.5s at other spots, but here, it opened at -3 at -106. So, but this line has moved towards Philadelphia at times. There's been different times where it's been -115, -113. There's been other times where it's been -104, and the juice has been over on the Cowboys. We're sitting here right now, though, at -108, so slightly juiced over towards the Eagles. From a total side of things here, this is sitting at 46.5, slightly juiced to the over. This opened up at 46.5, so really no movement on this total. Just juice has moved a little bit. That's it. And then cash-wise here, the Cowboys have 40% of the tickets and 46% of the cash. The total, 26% of the tickets and 54% of the cash on the under. It's the bye week next week for the Philadelphia Eagles, a bye that they need desperately. And I want the Cowboys to win this football game so that I can bet the Eagles to win the division and other future bets on them. Take it away for us here, Bo Bano, Cowboys, Eagles.
Yeah, to me, I definitely love the total over in this game. I was debating whether I wanted to go with Philly as well because I have a smaller bet on them for an official play. I will. Now that it's down to -3, -105 at Caesars with the Eagles. So we'll go -3, -105 here, and over 46.5, -102 at Pinnacle as far as the total is concerned. When I look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I look at a team that, offensively, they're starting to come around. We saw earlier in the season turnovers and miscues and leaving points on the board and not finishing drives. But slowly but surely, you're starting to see that from this Eagles team. The Dallas Cowboys are still very much a defense where you can create big plays against them. We saw San Francisco be able to do it. I can't get that game out of my mind. I really can't. And that's another reason why I like the Eagles a little bit. Cowboys against a really good team, good offense on the road, and they got their brains beat in by the 49ers. I can't get that out of my head. So I think the Eagles can move the ball. But you know what? I think Dallas's offense, look, it's not good for Philadelphia's defense. That's A, they're still banged up in the secondary, and B, the Cowboys have weapons to exploit them. CD Lamb leading them at the receiving core. He's played excellent lately. As long as Dak Prescott can at least avoid the mistakes, there's going to be plays to make in the passing game against Philly because teams are throwing the ball and successfully throwing the ball well against them with all these issues they've got in their secondary. So I see Dallas scoring obviously a lot more than they did against San Francisco in that Sunday night debacle. I think it gets up and over the total. I see in this game something like 28-20, 28-21. 49 gets you paid. So to me, 46.5 was a little low with this total.
Locked in here. You're going to have a lot of cappers talking about this game and the following game today. And I'm pretty comfortable that I'm not on it. There's first our guy Perky with the $2 dono. Perky, thank you so much. And following Perky, we have my man WT down in Costa Rica with a $10 dono here for the channel. You guys, thank you so much for supporting us. It means a ton to us. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for supporting this channel and supporting what we're putting in. It means a ton. WT, my guy, and he's got a super heavy play today on the Ravens. I can't wait to watch that game. Let's talk about the final game on the board here, and it's so exciting. Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, Paycor Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. So the reason why I didn't move on the Eagles was because I didn't want to start my card with these two public spots. And so I'm on the Bengals. the market's moving against me. There are sharps on the other side. I've been hearing it all week. And maybe because I was legitimately sitting here going, I don't think there's a team in the NFL right now that can come into Cincinnati and beat them right now. The way I'm watching, Burrow. Now, obviously, they're coming off a huge game. We all made so much money off of it. And I have the bias. And so that's the situation. When I heard AJ Klein was, officially out after losing Matt Milano, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm on overs. I beat the line move. I got 23.5 first half over. I got 48.5 full game. And then I got a bad line on the Bengals. So we'll see how this bangs out. And I can't wait to watch it tonight. This total is now up to 50 and 51 now at Pinnacle. So beat that by 2.5 points. And I only got in on Tuesday night. And from a side perspective here, sorry, let me get this up here. From a side perspective, we're all the way down. Oh, it's come back. Okay, good. So Will Hill's moved it to 2.5. Okay, that's good. So is my bookie. Wow, okay. It's at 2 right now at Pinnacle. That makes me feel a little better here, a little better. Our guy Perky with another $2 dono and then another $1 dono. Thank you, Perky. It means so much to us, man. So, Matt Milano on IR. Klein is going to be replaced by a rookie in Dorian Williams. Now, they'll have Rasul Douglas in the lineup who they picked up at the trade deadline, but that's tricky. Mixon is good to go for the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson also good to go for these Bengals. And when we get over to the cash for this one, 68% of the tickets and 71% of the cash is on the Bengals. It's a public side. I get it. And the over is a public over. 70% of the tickets, 89% of the cash. Look, I get it. I'm on them both. Take it away for us here, Bo Bano, your last game on the board. And we got to be tight. We've gone over a little bit. So take it away, Bills, Bengals.
Yeah. The moment I watched that San Francisco game last week for Cincinnati and that game ended, I'm like, it's like looking at a neon sign on the side of the road and it says buy. It's just flashing buy in big bright letters. That's what I thought of Cincinnati coming out of that game. This is a team I want to buy. This is a team that I want right now. This is a Cincinnati team that had Burrow banged up all year. The O-line had some issues as well with injuries. Look at the way they ran the ball. No one's talking enough about that. It's not just the way Burrow looked. Look at the way they ran the ball with Joe Mixon against that team last week, that great Niners team. And I know the Niners are slumping, but they hadn't lost at home until Cincinnati went in there and dummied them. I mean, it was wire to wire in control, Cincinnati last week. Buffalo, to me, is a very much damaged team right now. Their defense is just riddled with key injuries in the secondary. Milano, the leader at the linebacker spot. I mean, it's just all kinds of problems right now for this Bills team. You mentioned it, Klein. I worry about the pass rush. The O-line for the Bengals was able to give Burrow time. Burrow's got the mobility now to escape the pocket and do things like Allen and Mahomes can do now. I think the Bengals, and don't forget when these teams played last year, that game got shut down with the Damar Hamlin awful situation that transpired. Cincinnati was off to a hot start, and they looked like they were going to roll in that game, or they got off to a great start against the Bills last year in that game. I do think they're the better of these two teams right now, and getting just a near pick 'em with them at home, I'll take it. So Cincinnati minus 125 money line at Bet99. I did bet the over as well, Jimmy, but I got a better number. I will still make that official, even though we're taking a worse number. Over 49.5 minus 120 at ProLine Plus.
You are locked in, Bobano. Bengals money line over 49.5. Eagles -3 at -105 and the over 46.5. And Cowboys Eagles over 44.5 in Colts Panthers and the Panthers plus 2.5. You're on the over 40.5 in Commanders Patriots. You're on the Texans money line at -144. The Seahawks plus 6.5 and the over 43.5 in Seattle Baltimore. You're on the Falcons -3.5 and the over 37.5 there. Thank you so much for sharing your hard work and insights with all of us here, Bobano. Please watch Bobano on our #1 show on the channel, Hitting the Books, every Monday afternoon, College Breakdown alongside Connor Mack. Bobano, and follow Bobano on X at Bobano. Bobano, thank you so much for your time, my man, and let's have a giant day. Any last words?
Absolutely. You have a giant day, Jimmy. Everyone in the chat, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for Hitting the Books.
There he is, Bo Bano. We move on to our next guest. He made his NFL Pub Hub debut here in Week 7, and he was excellent. Thoughtful, intelligent, sharp. He went 3-1 plus 1.6 units. He was also shared the screen with Pistol Pete Loshak for years, and I really like him, really respect him, and I'm very excited to have him on the show. Please welcome Mr. Sean Higgs to the show. Sean, how are you?
Thoughtful, intelligent, smart are definitely three things nobody's ever said about me, but thank you there, Jimmy.
Well,
Maybe
you know
thoughtful.
what?
I am a little thoughtful, I guess.
You were very good in week 7, and I can't wait for everybody to hear your action right now that you are sharing with us. Of course, Sean has his big show, Midday Money, popping off in 20 minutes. So let's get right to work. Seattle Seahawks, Baltimore Ravens, M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. We've already discussed it. We've already set it up. So we just want to hear how you're getting paid.
Yeah, and 3-1. I did have a push on one of my totals that I tweeted out. If we waited to the Sunday show, that would have been a win. So it would have been 4-1, folks. But I'm going to go over here, and my total's been pretty good on the season: 26-10, 72%. So again, I'm not going to be long-winded here in my picks like last week. I like the over. We've seen Seattle on the road. Bano hit a bunch of stuff there. Good teams. 37-31. Detroit. They had the Niner game, 41-23. Defense gives up points to good quarterbacks. Lamar's a good quarterback. What else is there to say? Take the over. We'll see points. I think Baltimore team total over too. If you're a team total kind of person.
And you tweeted all of this out. I retweeted it. It's over 44 for our guy, Sean Higgs. We move on to the next spot on your board, and this game has not been talked about. New York Giants at Las Vegas Raiders, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. So this is the biggest bet I've made this year, and I would have much preferred the firings not happen and Jimmy G being dropped. It changes my storyline. I got in before all that information was out. And it is, what it is. So you try to get in early ahead of these market moves, and then, and I still beat the market move, but the whole storyline has changed dramatically now. Darren Waller is out for the Giants, and of course, Daniel Jones is back. Now, I gave the same breakdown for Temple. Why I wanted Temple so bad. I want a quarterback that I believe in, and I don't really believe in Daniel Jones, and I do believe in EJ Warner. I want a quarterback just to sit on the sidelines for a couple weeks and watch. If things are not going well, just shut up and watch. And watch futility. I also think it helps when you watch futility, and that worked great yesterday. We cashed Temple. They won easily, outright. I was just on the plus 6.5. But I feel the same way with Daniel Jones just watching for a couple weeks. Yes, he's been atrocious. Yes, he's not worth $160 million. But I think that it's going to help him watching. Now, this is down to +1 at Pinnacle. That's great. I got +2.5, and I also bet the money line at +120. But again, my whole script is different because of O'Connell at quarterback and all that, which and I'd like you to touch on that as well, Sean. This total now is at 37.5. It's really a 38. That's heavily juiced to the over. And when we get to the cash flow here for this game that has not been talked about yet, the cash, move over here. The cash flow for this one, we have 57% of the tickets, 58% of the cash on the Raiders. The line's been moving towards the Giants. It's great. We have 58% of the tickets and 50% of the cash on the over. Sean, take it away. A fascinating football game. Maybe a bum fight, but I love bum fights. Take it away.
I think I tweeted at you. It was a 37, and now it's gone up. I still like it, 37, 38. I like the over, and it's as simple as Daniel Jones is trash. But this is I don't want to say a big game for the coach, but really look at 10 points, 14 points, 9, 16, 3, 12. There's been 0. This is kind of like everything in the kitchen sink. I expect a crazy performance from the Giants. And I say that meaning they could score points offensively. Maybe they just sweat the bed and it's turned into a blowout for the Raiders. I see a lot of points, and I have to tell you, I'm on the Raiders -3. I took them last week -3, and I like it. I still like it because now you got rid of a coach who was everybody's wanted him fired for the last couple of years there, right? Nobody liked him. Like, oh, he's holding McDaniels, this, that. I have a offense now that feels like maybe we can do something. The defense has always been solid. I think it's a breath of fresh air kind of move for them. So I'm on the Raiders side. I mean, I'm laying a bad number 3. I get down early. It is what it is. But I think the Raiders, they're going to have a big performance. They might score 34 themselves here, I think, honestly. I mean, the Giants are you're in a desperation mode here, right? This is kind of like, holy cow, are we this bad where we score 10 points a game? So that's why I'm going over. Everything in the kitchen sink from the Giants. I think the Raiders are just going to explode today because of the coach is gone, like the Wicked Witch is dead. Here comes Devontae and Jacobs or whoever they want to throw out the ball. It'll just be kids on Christmas morning to me. So give me the over and give me the Raiders. I know for the show officially we're on the over, but I'm just. But
you can add the Raiders. You can always add anything official.
That's right. I'll add them. Let's go -1. Add them up. Let's do it.
get you the -1. Let's take a look at a couple things here because the -1 is -113 at Pinnacle. Do you want to look at the money line?
Let's go money line. Yeah, let's just do the -113, 115, whatever it is. Round it up for everybody. 115.
Money line right now for Vegas. The best one we get you is -120 at Pinnacle.
120. Fine.
All right, locked in.
Still a winner.
Locked in the Raiders. Raiders -120. Now, I know we got to kind of keep this tight, but generally speaking, in the NFL, we don't have the mid-season coaching moves because it's the most complicated sport.
Yeah.
Right. This is it's a chess and it's violent and it's just really tricky to do that. Can you touch on that here? And I know because I agree with you. We know that the new coach is a boon.
How bad are things that they follow? Because you never hear mid-season firings, right? Like maybe like the last who'd they do? Petrino, they got rid of like 2 games of the season. It never happens because you're like, you know what? There's hundreds of millions of dollars wrapped up into this nonsense. And they'd rather just say, you know what? We'll eat it for the year and just move on. You can't do that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, when is the last time it's happened? I can't remember. I mean, maybe it could be recent. I don't think so. It's that just goes to show how bad he's been and how people are just fed up. And the coach was like, that owner, David, was like, I forget it now. This is. And was that a true story that he like dressed up as the owner the next day after they lost on Halloween? Is that true? And he's eating like Panda Express or whatever the hell he's eating? Like, is that a true story? I saw that I'm like, how do you come in? Listen, I'm not a big Halloween guy as much as the fat guy I am. If you're giving out sandwiches or something, it's wonderful. I don't want candy. But like, where is the taking the temperature of the room? You're looking pathetic, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you come in like that? Like you just flew back from Detroit getting embarrassed on Monday Night Football. That's another reason I like the Raiders. You're totally embarrassed, and your coach is dressing up like the owner the next day, like it's like he's a teacher dressed up as a principal as a joke, and the kids just failed a SAT test or some nonsense. Unbelievable.
So funny.
Yeah, Crosby. There you go. He's going to eat up that bad line. For sure.
Funny. So funny. All right, let's move on to the next spot here. Cowboys, Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field. We've already set it up, so take it away.
Yeah, I'm on the boys here. And I am a Cowboy fan, yes, and I hate everything Philadelphia, crappy cheesesteaks, whatever. Everything about Philly. The Phillies, Eagles, bring me back to Charles Barkley and Hershey Hawkins. But give me the Cowboys. Dak's playing better. And everything Bo said about the Eagles is right? They've yet to play a good game all year. But good team. That's what a good team does, right? You win even though you're not playing well. I don't know. They're ready to get picked off. I think the Dallas defense is the difference here. They're a little healthier. I think they're better. And that's where I think it's going to come down to. Yeah, Dak's got good numbers versus Philly. But again, it's Hurts a little banged up, right? We haven't seen. I'm going Dallas defense. Special teams are the better units. I'm getting some points here in a huge rivalry game. Let's go. Dallas, get it done.
I love it. I love it. You are locked in on the Cowboys +3, and I want to get in on Eagles futures, and it's risky when your quarterback has a knee injury, but I want to get in on Eagles futures, and the only way I'll be able to is if the Cowboys win this football game.
Yes.
Let's move on to the next spot on the board, and I was just enormously relieved when I saw your action. Take it away, Bills. Bengals. Sean Higgs, final spot on the board.
It is Cincinnati all day for me. I had them last week. Nice off a bye week. Then you had the Niners Monday night. Bad spot. But Cincy's just playing better, right? Burrow seems to be getting healthy here, right? Moving along, getting better. And what have we seen out of the Bills here? You lost at New England on the road. You lost at the Jets. You lost to Jacksonville in England. I mean, you beat the Giants 14-9. They're just not playing good ball right now. And you're coming into Cincy versus a team that's maybe rounded into shape with the way they've been playing. Laying, let's go. 1.5. I think I laid 2 when I posted it to you. I tweeted out it was a 2. I know it's come down. I don't care about that. Why would you want to bet the Bills? They've not played well. I'll take Cincy. I'm happy about it.
Do you agree with the market move towards the over?
Yeah, because I think the Bills defense isn't going to be able to stop Cincinnati. So it makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. I love the look here.
We saw Cincy beat them up. What was it? What was the score when they played in the playoffs? What was it like? I mean, they took care of business versus them. So I mean, that was 27-10, and I think this team's better. I don't think the Bills are as good as what they would have been. So why wouldn't they put up 30 here at home?
I told myself I was going to have futures action on the Bengals before the game started. I've been so caught up with horses over the last 48 hours. I still don't have them. I don't want the division at this point, but it's at between plus 325 and 400 for a while. And the Ravens are expected to win here. But the conference right now, 9-1, and the Super Bowl is at 16-1. I'd like to have those in my pocket. So I'm going to try to get this action in before.
Yeah, worth a shot on them.
Kickoff.
I think the AFC is pretty wide open. I mean, you got Kansas City, Miami's. Who knows? They might be not real. I kind of like the Ravens as a little dark. It's tough to say a first place team's a dark horse, but I think they get overlooked because of Joe Burrow and Mahomes and Allen and Tua and Tyreek Hill. But
I love this stuff, Sean. Over 44 in Seahawks Ravens, over 37 in Giants Raiders. He tweeted that out. He's added Raiders money line here on the show. He tweeted out Cowboys +3 -110 and Bengals -2 at -110. Gerald Jones saying the Eagles have extremely tough schedule in the second half as well. Yeah, I'll go over all of that.
Yeah.
And Sean, tell us a little bit about your show, Midday Money.
Yeah, I do Midday Money 7 days a week at noon. I throw out a free picks today it'll just be football. I'm not going to rush into NBA and stuff like that, but I do every day. It's a free pick show, and I do a lot more with the comments. I'm by myself and I roll into the comment section. I see some of the guys in here coming to my show, so they know how I roll. I just I do free picks and then I give you my thoughts on your games that you like. So it's a nice little back and forth.
I love it, Sean. Thank you for making time for us. Have a giant day. Have a great show at noon today and, Monday through Sunday. I love it. 7 days a week.
Thanks,
Midday Money. Thank you, Sean. Follow him on X at Mr. Sean Higgs. Sean, any last words for the Capper Sporting Show? He's bounced. Okay, because he's got the show to go. Let's keep rolling. We move on to the next spot on the board, and that is our Capper right now, second overall out of 25. He has been spectacular, and it's his average line. His average line is constantly around 2-1, and he, year after year, this is year 3 of him succeeding on this show. Currently second overall. He's only 11-10, but he's up 4 units because of his average line, and now going to be heading back to South Jersey, but still in West Virginia right now. Please welcome Mr. Billy Brisbane to the show. Brizzy, how are you?
Doing good, man. Getting ready for today. Like you said, 3rd year on the show. You got to fucking win this year, right? I mean, we always talk about in the gambling community, we always want to be buddy-buddy, but Big Ragu coming for you.
Well, you've been in the top 5 every year. So knocking on the door, very, very consistent and skilled. Let's move into your first spot on the board. We've discussed it. Commanders, Patriots. I love my +3.5 on the Commanders. I love everybody, the public being on the Patriots, thinking that the Commanders have given up on their season. I love that. I love the whole storyline about all this. In fact, these bets are 1.25 units for me. And I wish I went a little more on this one, but I can't get that 3.5 anymore. Take it away for us, Brizzy. Commanders, Patriots.
Yeah, man. This is a value wide receiver spot that we've been looking at. Been kind of really looking at my ROI throughout the last couple of weeks. It's really these value wide receiver spots that have really been smashing for me. And we hope to get one in this one today with Demario Douglas over 45.5 receiving yards here. He's slowly becoming the wide receiver 1 in this Pats offense. He ran the most routes last week for the Patriots, led the team in targets. Despite only having 25 total receiving yards. If you look at the injury report for the wide receivers for the Patriots for this one, I mean, Kendrick Bourne's out. You got Juju Smith-Schuster, who just came off the concussion, who didn't do shit last week. Like, there's a difference when you come back from a concussion, and then there's a difference of not running routes. So, and I'm not scared of Juju Smith-Schuster regardless if he was 100% healthy or if he wasn't. Devontae Parker's also out for this one. It's not a good sign when you're getting Tyquan Thornton active off the practice list for the wide receiver core here for the Patriots. But the Commanders secondary has just been brutal this year. They've allowed a wide receiver 1 to go over their receiving yard prop 6 out of the 8 weeks this year. And I think that Demario Douglas is going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots, and everyone is playing him in daily fantasy. So I'm going to translate it to the betting market. I'm on over 4.5 receiving yards at -110. And then just a sprinkle here, not official bet though, because I did bet the shit for real. Demario Douglas, 70+ receiving yards at +225.
And so our number is 41.5 receiving yards?
45.5 receiving yards.
45.5 receiving yards for Demario Douglas. Brizzy is on the board. Douglas over 45.5 receiving yards. Then we move over to the just talked about New York Giants, Las Vegas Raiders game at Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Giants, Raiders.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like the last couple of weeks we've been right on the cusp. Maybe just a couple of added plays that we didn't need to add, or just right there. We just got to dumb it down a little bit. And this is the version of dumbing it down here. Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown at plus 105. I mean, how can you fucking not? The dude got 34 fucking touches last week in the Jets game. When's the last time you seen a running back touch the ball 34 times in the year 2023? You don't see it. They're trying to absolutely murder Saquon Barkley before he goes on the IR for the rest of the year. And you get a great matchup here against the Raiders, 30th ranked rush defense here. The totals for running backs coming out of the backfield against the Raiders have just been ridiculous throughout the whole entire year. And I think it continues in this one here. The Raiders have allowed, 66.7% red zone touchdown success rate at home, the sixth highest figure in the league at that split, and 140.6 rushing yards per game and 8 rushing touchdowns to the running back position. Perfect spot here for Saquon to get inside the end zone. Rarely am I playing an anytime touchdown prop bet and a total that is hovering below 40.5. And I don't think it goes over, but I think Saquon scores a touchdown in this one. I mean, he is the offense. They know what's up here. Saquon Barkley's getting in the back of the end zone today.
Barkley anytime touchdown. What was the number for that?
Plus 105.
Plus 105 for Brizzy. So those are the two spots that you sent. Are you adding anything here, or are those your two bets?
Those are the 3 bets. We're coming for Ragu off the 3 bets.
Do you also have the receptions for Demario Douglas?
No, I have 70 plus receiving yards at plus 225.
And did you want to make that official?
Yeah, that is official. We're going with the official ladder here for Demario Douglas. I really have a little sprinkle bet on the 100 plus yards, but just off of the money wise, it wasn't an official because of the unit wise. It did not make the show.
So 70 plus, and that was at plus 225?
Plus 225 for 70 plus receiving yards. I was coming down at an anytime touchdown or the receiving yards. The anytime touchdown is plus 240. I think the cap behind it is he's big explosive plays. The Commanders, if you look at these receiving yards against the Commanders, it's ridiculous. I think Daddy Mac Jones is going to have a day today, man. Is it going to result in a W? No, but this is going to be a fantasy goodness game.
I love it. Brizzy 11-10 plus 4 units right now, sitting second out of 25 cappers. He's on Demario Douglas over 45.5 receiving yards minus 110, 70 or more at plus 225. Then he's on Barkley anytime touchdown at plus 105. That's under Billy. You can see his Instagram handle. Follow him there. Also follow him on X at getting_bills_. Brizzy, you're the man. Thank you for making time for us. Any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Yeah, short, sweet, to the bag. Usually we come out with a little bit more plays, but we just want winners. Winning with no big ragu on this week is very prevalent. So you got to get this W.
I love it. There he is, Billy Brisbane in the house. We move on. Now, one of the things about tracking everybody's action, being accountable and transparent with it, is some of our friends have bad weeks, and our guy, Mr. Gokster, on week 1 got crushed. In 2022, he was 5th out of everybody, 5th out of 23 cappers. He was 28-19 plus 9.89 units. So he got crushed in week 1, and I've wanted to get him back badly. I tried to get him back last week. I wanted to get him back in action because I know that he can fix this. And we had Spenny Penny Bombs get crushed in week 1 as well. Now he's right back to even because he's a great capper that we all believe in. And so is your next guest, a great capper that we all believe in. Let's bring him on right now, coming to us from Belleville, Ontario. Dirty Belleville, the home of neck tats and limps. Please welcome Mr. Gokster to the show. Gokster, how are you?
Oh, not too bad, Jimmy. Glad to be back after that week one. Yeah, just missed a couple by a couple yards, couple inches. That's just the way she goes, though. But I focused on one game here, guys, and I think we're going to hit them hard.
You did, and this has worked for you last year. The one game that you are focusing all of your action on is the Sunday Nighter. We're going to be live for it right here on Pub Sports Radio. Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. Take it away, Gokster.
Yeah, guys. So this is the rematch from last year. We know what happened. Crazy game. What happened? 27-10 for Cincinnati. This year, I don't know if we're going to see much different. The thing is, guys, you know how well this Bengals team's playing. They're getting hot at the right time. They've beat up on two good teams, in my opinion, too, Jim. San Francisco and Seattle look good doing it. And then they also beat up on Arizona. And then if you just look at our guy Burrow, he's been money. 3 touchdowns, 3. So what? That's 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in his last 3 games. This team just looks like they're rolling ever since Jamar Chase kind of called out in a weird way. Burrow just say, throw me the ball. I'm always open. So this is a tough game, guys. If you look at a big stat, Jimmy, I found that was a discrepancy was penalties. 31st for the Buffalo Bills, guys, in penalties. First is the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Bengals are the least penalized team in the league. Well, the Buffalo Bills are one of the worst. So whenever you're looking at a Sunday night game and at 2 top teams, I think that can come into play. Red zone opportunities are going to be pretty much very similar. But the issue with the Cincinnati, Jimmy, is I know Mixon, he's been fine, but they don't have another running back other than Mixon. They got 3 other guys. They've had 11 attempts all year. This is going to be heavy on Joe Burrow, I believe, Jim. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a strong game, and he's been humming at the right time. And we're looking at our guy Josh Allen. We know he's kind of questionable, and he hasn't been playing his best. He's had 5 games, or 5 of the last 6. He's had at least 1 interception in those games. He has thrown 2 touchdowns, Jimmy, but I'm going with some props in this game, guys. With Allen not, I think, right, and looking at Cincinnati's D guys, they've 2 interceptions against Purdy, 2 interceptions, Jim, against Geno Smith, 2 against Dobbs, 2 against Stafford. This team's defense is playing really good football too right now, Cincinnati Bengals. So I think Allen's going to have to throw the ball more than he wants. I think Cincinnati is going to be up in this game. So I'm going to take a little bit of a prop play, same game parlay, guys. Take Allen to throw an interception and tie that in with Dalton Kincaid to have 3 receptions, Jimmy. This Dalton Kincaid, he's been money in the bank, especially now that Knox is going to be out. 5 receptions, 8, 2, 4. He's going to be targeted quite a bit, I think. So tie in Dalton Kincaid, a bit of a different play here, you could say. Same game parlay. Dalton Kincaid to have 3 receptions, and then Allen to throw an interception, Jim. That's going to be plus 110. That's my first look.
You are locked in. Allen interception, Kincaid over 2.5 receptions at plus 110. Keep rolling, Gokster.
Yeah, so let's keep her going, guys. Now, for the Cincinnati side of things, I think what the Buffalo Bills are going to try and do is make their tight end, Irv Smith, beat them. So Irv Smith, guys, it's a low number, 12.5 plus 100. And when I bring up Irv Smith, the last 2 games he has been targeted. Now, he didn't get any targets against Arizona and LA Rams, but like I said, I think they're going to try and focus obviously on our guy, I'm slipping my mind. They're number 1 for Cincinnati. And also our big guy in T. Higgins. They're going to make someone like Smith beat them. So I think Smith, Jimmy, it's only at 12.5. He had 4 of 4 targets last game against the San Francisco 49ers, 25 yards. And that's how I think that's what they're going to try to expose. Not so much expose. I think that's what Buffalo, Jim, is going to try and make Cincinnati do. They're going to take away their deep threats and make guys like Irv Smith, who's just kind of like a dump down for Burrow. So take the over 12.5, guys, plus 100 too. That's what I found it at. That's going to be the second play of the day. And then the third one here, the way I see this game, I think it is going to be back and forth, Jimmy. And with 2 touchdowns from Allen in 5 of those last 5 games, and then with how well Burrow's playing, the only worry would be the defense for the Cincinnati Bengals. But where I'm going, guys, is both teams to score a touchdown in each half. So 7, as long as we get a touchdown in the first or second quarter, third, and then separate third or fourth quarter, we're going to cash this one. It's going to be at plus 110, Jimmy. Just the way I see this game, I really dialed in on this one, guys. The only issue would be is how well Cincinnati's defense is going to be, but we know the revenge factor is very real here for Buffalo, and this is going to be one of their toughest tests of the year. They haven't been really tested on the road. New England, Washington, and the Jets. So this is going to be a tough test for Buffalo. I think they're going to be down. They're going to have to kind of Allen's going to have to throw for more than he wants. He's going to be targeting guys like Kincaid. And then on the other side of things, Jim, Cincinnati, I just think they're just playing such good football, and they've only had three home games. A lot of these wins have been on the road. Give me both teams, guys, to score in each half. That's going to be plus 110. And then if you were to take a side here, Jim, that's all I have there is 3 plays, but I do lean towards the Bengals at 1.5. I don't know where the number is right now. I haven't had a chance to check. I'm watching this crazy game here, Kansas City and Miami. But I would lean towards a Cincinnati win here, guys. I know Buffalo, you could say, is waiting in the spot, but I just, with the injuries too, to the linebackers, I even spoke about the injuries, the linebackers to Buffalo, 2 linebackers out on top of Milano. So I'm going to have to take, I'm going to take Cincinnati probably to win this game. It's not going to be an official play though, Jim. I'm just going to stick with the plays I've already bet, guys. Dalton Kincaid, 3 receptions and an interception from Allen, plus 110. Tight end from Cincinnati, Irv Smith, over 12.5, plus 100. And then both teams to score, Jimmy, in each half at plus 110.
Both teams to score touchdowns in each half.
Yes, sir.
At plus 110 for Mr. Gogster here. Gogster, I love it. 3 looks here on the same game. Let's get you back where you belong in the black. And you were excellent last year. Again, we see the 0-5, down 5.48 units. But that was 1 week. Last year, you went 28-19 plus 9.89 units. So let's get you back in the black where you belong, my friend. Thank you for making time for us as well, being a part of our Big Breeders' Cup show on Friday. That was a lot of fun. And please follow Gogster on X, his Twitter handle right there, EGO47_. Gogster, my man, Donut Silk's liking that look, the touchdown in each half spot for each team. My man, thank you for making time for us. And any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Guys, get after it, cash some tickets. And I like that energy from Billy Briz. We got winners, guys. We got to be pumping these winners out. So I gave 3 picks I think are going to all win here. And let's fingers crossed, 8:30, at 11 o'clock, we get those winners, Jim. And also, no Denver game, but that's really been my bread and butter, guys. The Denver Broncos, you see it on my toque here. Look forward to maybe coming back when Denver's got a nice primetime game, Jimmy, and giving you guys some winners there.
We love it. Thank you, Mr. Gogster, my man. There he is. Let's bring on our next guest. And I'm not sure if we have the camera rocking right now. We're having some issues with it. So let me introduce him, and we'll try to bring him on here and see if the camera is locked and loaded. It may not be. We may not have to bring him in and out. We'll check it out right now. But I'm very excited about bringing the next guest on. He made his debut, NFL pop-up debut in week 6. He went 3-1 plus 2.16 units. He also rolled with us in San Antonio. That's where we all got to hang with him and meet him. He's part of the Brothers and Bets family, and I love him. Him and Coach do great work. He went 3-1 plus 2.16 units here. We're going to see if his camera is working because we're having some issues here with Jose. So let's bring him on right now, Marley's Bets, and see if we're good to go, and we are not.
Am I good? Can you see me?
No, you're it's all dark. So we got to get you
It's all dark.
maybe just go
Let me bring
leave the studio and then come back in. Let's do that. Let's leave the studio and come back in, and we'll get Marley. All right. So when we're waiting on Marley here, let's go and take a look and review all action here on the show. And I have 10 spots. I'm on the Bengals minus 2.5. Bad line. That's the only line I didn't crush. I have Buffalo, Cincinnati, first half over 23.5. I crushed that. And that was at minus 105 too. Low vig. Buffalo, Cincinnati over 48.5, minus 110. Giants plus 2.5. Giants money line at plus 120. Rams, Packers under 39.5 at minus 110. Commanders plus 3.5 minus 120. Saints minus 7.5 minus 110. Buccaneers plus 3 at minus 118. And Chargers Jets under 41.5. And I'm using the Browns in my survivor pool. Circa Millions, for those of you who are members, I see a ton of green in the chat. We're 22-17-2. We've broken into the top 1,000. There's about 5,500 in it, and we're really excited about that. So Pub Sports Circa Millions, and we got Marley ready to go. We need Colts, Bengals, Browns, and Rams, and there he is, my guy Marley in the house. Marley, what a clinic you put on in week 6 here. It was absolutely excellent capping, sharp looks, and plus money average line got you into our. Right now, you are ranked 4th overall out of 25 cappers in just 1 week. So let's get right to work. It's great to have you here. How are you, my guy?
I'm good, man. Shout out to my Little League team. We had our first round playoff victory yesterday. So feeling good. We're trying to repeat the Super Bowl champs. So
Oh,
one
I
more
love
way.
it. I love it. You are a great coach. You're a great coach, and you set a great vibe, and you deserve your boys to succeed. Let's get right to work because we have a game that we haven't spoken about. We start at 1 p.m. Eastern with the Los Angeles Rams 3-5, 2-2 on the road at the Green Bay Packers 2-5, 1-2 at home at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We have Stafford not going to be starting. And for the Packers, they have some issues too. They have their safety, Rudy Ford, with a calf injury, and their linebacker, Quay Walker, with a groin injury. So, when first off, for Walker, when he missed practice on Friday, he said that he's feeling tight, according to LaFleur, which means that it would be Isaiah McDuffie and Eric Wilson, filling in for that spot, the key linebacking spot here. So we'll see how that that bangs out. And then for Ford, of course, then you'll need Dallin Levitt or Anthony Johnson Jr. or Zane Anderson to fill out Ford spots. So those are two important parts of the defense. Let's get into the line history here. We know now that Stafford won't be starting. It was something that we expected all week. But let's go into the line history and see what we are then dealing with. From a spread scenario here, we have moved to 4 at Pinnacle. It's 4 at MyBookie. You can still find 3.5s, still find them. And unbelievably, this was the highest voting that we've ever had in our Circa Millions Cappers contest. 93% of the votes were on the Rams. This total has dropped with the announcement. We're now sitting at 38. Actually, really hasn't dropped. I guess it's the juice is moved. There's been 10 cents of movement on the juice to the under since it was announced that Stafford would not be in. And when we get over to the cash flow, I'm going to have to, there we go. We get over to the cash flow for this spot here. Move over here for Rams, Packers. We have 45% of the tickets, 55% of cash on the Packers, and then 77% of tickets and 96% of cash on the under. Take it away, Marley. Game 1, Rams, Packers for you.
Yeah, so I'm on the under here, especially with no Stafford. The offense is already kind of struggling along. We already know what the defense is bringing to the table. I know we have a small total here at 38. Was it 38 and a half, I think, or was it drop? I think I've seen some 37 and a halves earlier, but the Rams are just too banged up for me, Jimmy. They have a lot of injuries, a lot of people questionable. And then on top of that, Jordan Love, he started the season off okay, but his QBR is at 43.4, 11 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He's just there's starting to be questions about, is he really the guy over there? They do get Jair Alexander back defensively, and the defense hasn't really played too bad. Honestly, they've held their last 3 opponents to under 25 points, with Minnesota being at 24, but they held Denver to 19. They held the Raiders to 17. Those two teams aren't offensive powerhouses, but again, neither is the Rams, especially without Stafford. So I still like the under here. I wanted to lean Green Bay at the 3.5, but I could with no Stafford. But I can't trust Jordan Love at all. So I'm going to stick with the under here at 38.5.
No more 38.5s available, but we can get you a 38 available right now at minus 110. A lot of books 38 minus 110. A lot of books have moved it down to 37.5, but our guy Marley is in under 38 minus 110. Rams, Packers. I moved on this on Tuesday after our show at 39.5. Let's cash this together. Let's move on. I'm very interested in your plan here for Giants Raiders at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. So take it away, Marley. Can't wait to hear your plan. How you getting paid here?
So look, Jimmy, 2 terrible teams, right? Trash bag teams, right here. No Tyrod Taylor. They're going back to Daniel Jones. He's dealing with a neck injury. I'm right back on the under again, Jimmy. These offenses are going to struggle. I think the Giants are averaging 12 points per game right now. And I heard my man Billy Bridge talk about the Giants offenses a little earlier. I like that Saquon Barkley any touchdown prop. I might have to ride with that. But outside of Saquon Barkley, as Bridge said, he is the offense. What else are they going to do? They're not going to run Daniel Jones, which is probably his strongest skill set because he probably has a neck injury, and I don't think you want to risk your quarterback getting hurt because then you'll be down to your third string quarterback. The Raiders have benched Jimmy G. They got a brand new coach, even though I like Antonio Pierce. This is actually a good time to probably take the Raiders. It's kind of one of those new coach. They're feeling a little bit more motivated. They've been raving about O'Donnell at practice. Even Devontae Adams has came out and said something. So I think you'll get like a little bit of a boost from the Raiders offense. Might not be a bad idea to jump on the money line. In all actuality, I jumped on it already. But the play that I'm giving out for today, Jimmy, I am on the under. The Giants totals in their last 3 games, 10, 14, and 14. 16 against Miami, 3 against Seattle. That's their last 5 games. And the Raiders aren't any better. 14 in their last game, 12 in the game before that. They put up 21 against New England, 17 against Green Bay, and 17 against the Chargers. We are not going to get a lot of scoring in this game, people. So 37 is more than enough. We're probably looking at like a 10-17 game, 10-23, 7-14. Like, I don't even think we're going to get to 30, honestly. These are 2 terrible offenses. And then Antonio Pierce, he's a defensive guy. So it's not like he's going to come in and come up with like, and he's not even been there to come up with and change the scheme. So this is going to be one of those garbage bowls. Not necessarily great defense, but we're going to have terrible offense. I'm all over this under 37. Give it to me. Or if it's 38, I'll still either way, Jimmy, give it to me.
We can get you 38.5. Under 38.5 is at Bovada right now for Giants Raiders. So that's what we are going to give you. Donut Silk saying it's 38 over at DraftKings, but 38.5 we can get you at Bovada for Giants Raiders under. Now we talk about the 2 Giant games on the schedule. Love hearing everybody's takes on it. We've talked about both. And I'm thankful not to be involved in Cowboys Eagles. But let's hear how Marley's getting paid. Take it away, Marley. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles.
Look, I'm not going to get long drawn out like I did with the last game. Everybody's giving us all the numbers on these games, right? And what it boiled down to me is this, Jimmy. The Cowboys are exactly who the Cowboys are every year for the last probably 4 to 5 years. They beat up on bad teams. And then when they play good teams, that folds. That's just what it is. And let's just be realistic about it. Look at the Cowboys' wins, Jimmy. Who have they beat of that you would look at their wins and be like, oh yeah, that's a really good team. I'll take that. But the Chargers, are they even a playoff team? That's probably their best win. But when they played San Francisco, they got handled. They beat the Giants. They beat the Jets. They beat the Rams. Who did they play that you can be like, oh, yeah, that's a strong. And they were talking about this team being a Super Bowl contender. No, the Eagles are true Super Bowl contenders. No, the defense isn't necessarily what it was last year, especially against the pass. But I think they're number 1 against the run, if I'm not mistaken, which the Cowboys run game is Tony Pollard has not lived up to expectations. And I like CeeDee Lamb, and the numbers say that him and Dak up against man coverage dominate. The Eagles do a lot of man coverage on the back end defensively. However, the Philadelphia offense ranked 3rd in the league. I think they are 7th in rushing, 7th in passing, number 1 in time of possession. They're going to hold the ball. How do you attack the Cowboys defense? If you're going to drop back 30, 40 times to pass the ball, no, they're brilliant at pass rush with Michael Parsons. And even though Trevon Diggs has been out, they're still pretty good in the secondary. So what do? You run the ball down their throat. And I feel like that is what the Eagles are going to do. They are one of the best rushing teams we have in the league. And I think they are going to run the ball right at Parsons because that's not his strong suit. He's good at rushing the passer. He's not necessarily stout at the run game. I like the Eagles. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. That will turn the ball over in a crucial point in time because you know why? That's what he does, especially on the road. If you look at his home and away splits. I'll take the Eagles at the crib. Big game. I'll swallow the 3 points. Give me Philly.
Locked in -3, -109 available right now at
That's
pinnacle.
crazy, Londo. Good luck, though.
Let's move on to the next spot on the board for you. Your final spot on the board, and it's our Sunday nighter. We'll be right here for the live stream. Take it away for us, Marley. Bills, Bengals.
So look, many people have broken this game down as well, and I'm not going to get super long-winded on this one either, Jimmy. And the truth for me, what it boils down to is this. Josh Allen turns the ball over way too much for me personally. He's up and down. He's not consistent. And I think Nick Wright says this a lot on ESPN. I'm kind of starting to agree with him. Ever since that Chiefs game that he had with Mahomes where they were going back and forth and just, making hella plays, he's launching the ball down the field. It's like that's how he's playing every game. Like he's trying to be the hero every single play. He's taking unnecessary risks at times. And he's just too inconsistent. Whereas the Bengals, yes, they had a rough start. I think that was all due to Burrow's leg. Burrow's been healthy. Bengals have taken off. Simple as that. He was running the ball last game. I think he scrambled for like 40 yards. I seen one play, it was like 20 yards. So I'm all over the Bengals big game. I just don't trust the Bills. I've watched the show. I've heard everybody give all the numbers about how many touchdowns Burrow's thrown in the last couple games versus Josh Allen. So we don't need to go back and forth and do all that. It simply come down to who has the best quarterback. And the truth of the matter is Joe Burrow is the best quarterback. And I like the Bengals here. I'll swallow the 1.5.
We can get you a 1.5. You're right. We can also get you a 2 with no vig. But let's just see what the 1.5. I guess that's just changed. So we can get you a -1.5, -114, or a -2 at -106. What would you prefer?
I'll take the -2 at 106.
You got it locked in. Marley, let's review your action. Bengals -2, -106. Eagles -3 at -109. Then we have the under 38.5 in Giants Raiders and the under 38 in Rams Packers. Marley, thank you so much for making time for us. Marley, can you tell us a little bit about the Brothers and Bets channel?
Yes, man. Y'all check us out. Y'all see the big logo right there behind me, Brothers and Bets. Me and my boy Coach, we got a YouTube channel. We do pretty much all major sports. We both coach. So football season is a little hectic, but like I said, we're in the playoffs. I'm winding down. So we're going to pick it up. We do basketball, college football, NBA, pretty much all sports. So, man, y'all can follow me right there at Marley Bets. And Jimmy, appreciate you, man. Anytime. Y'all know the motto. Let's beat Vegas.
I love it. Let's beat Vegas and also hang out with Marley at Pubapalooza 3. We'll get Coach down there too. Get all Brothers and Bets running with us at Pubapalooza in San Antonio. All right, let's move on to our next guest. Great job, Marley. Our next guest, we have him making his NFL Pub Hub debut in Week 5. He also rocks with our guys, Dabby Cab, in our college football live stream. His energy's magic. I love capping with them. Please welcome Guns Picks in the house.
What's going on a beautiful Sunday morning? We're going to be absolutely killing the card. Week 9 edition. Let's get into the card. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's get right to work. And thank you from Jimmy the Drunk, a $9.99 dono. Jimmy, thank you so much for sharing your hard-earned cash with us. It means a ton, absolute ton. Thank you, Jimmy. Let's roll here. Guns, we start with the Buccaneers and the Houston Texans. I on the other side of Bano in this one. We've discussed it, but that's the only time we've discussed it. And it sounds like I'm also going to be on the other side of you, a place I don't want to be. Take it away for us, Guns. Buccaneers, Houston Texans.
I think this is an absolute perfect spot, bounce back situation after losing against the worst team in the NFL, arguably with the Panthers. But let's talk about these two teams for a second. You have the Tampa Bay Bucs in this one, losing 3 straight off a loss in Thursday Night Football. A little extra rest in that game, 24-18. Losing the net yardage battle, -125 net yards. Now you have Houston. They're 3-4 straight up, 4-3 ATS this season. They're off a loss, like I said before, with Carolina +5 net yards in that game with a -1 turnover ratio. Houston struggles on the road outside the division. That's historic on this one. You can look at the stats yourself. But at home, different story. They're plus 6-point differential, plus 43 net yards at home this season. This is actually the 4th straight game for Houston that they're going to have to play an NFC South opponent. They're 1-2 straight up, 2-1 ATS versus those opponents. 2 of those were on the road. Like I said, not a good road team, not a good travel team, but when they played at home, they played the Saints. The Saints, they beat 20-13. So if there's any indication of how this team plays versus way in a home split, you got to be going with Houston on this one. And then you got to look at the passing. What does Houston like to do? Pass the ball. They average 7.6 yards per play, 6th in the NFL. In the passing game, 60.5% pass completion rate. CJ Stroud absolutely having himself a season. 9 touchdowns, 1 INT only, so he doesn't even turn over the ball. But what does Tampa do? They get gashed in the passing game. 300-plus passing yards in 3 out of their 7 games this season. They give up 6.9 yards per play, which is ranked 25th in that category in the NFL. Then non-division splits on this one. You look at Houston, non-division, plus 2-point differential, minus 7 net yard average, plus 1 turnover ratio. Tampa on the other side, minus 5-point differential, minus 96 net yard average, plus 1 turnover ratio versus non-divisional opponents. Tampa has not done well facing opponents outside of conference. You actually look at the last 6 matchups versus AFC opponents. They are 1-5 against the spread dating back to 2022. I think Houston is just in a perfect spot here in the bounce back. They coming off that dramatic loss on the road. They get back home in their comfort zone versus a non-conference opponent, which they excel very well against, versus a Tampa team that, quite frankly, is a bad road team, bad passing defense, and bad versus outside of the conference. So give me Houston here. I got them at minus 2.5, 2-unit special.
You got it. And there's been a big market move towards Houston in the last hour and a half or so, last hour or so. So that's a juice 2.5 now, a juice 2.5 for you. And also this Buccaneers defense, and I talked about this on our Tuesday show, Bankroll Blitz, simultaneously having the best red zone defense in the league and the worst third down defense in the league. I've never heard of that in my entire life. And you talked about how they get gashed for yards. I've never heard. I'm certain that it's never happened. It's just so ludicrous that you could get gashed like that, but then tighten up in the red zone. So Guns is on the board with the Texans minus 2.5. Let's roll into your next spot, Guns, and the games that everybody wants to talk about. Let's roll right into it. Cowboys, Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect Philadelphia spot here. I mean, when you look at these two teams, when they match up, you always have to take the home team. And I'll tell you why that trend is important here. But let's talk about where these two teams are coming from. You have Dallas coming off a commanding win at home versus the Rams, 43-20, plus 107 net yards in that game. They're 5-2 straight up and ATS for the season. Now you have Philadelphia off a division road win versus Washington. Hard fought one, 38-31, despite losing the net yardage in that one, minus 98 net yards. They're 7-1 straight up this season, 4-2-2 ATS for the year. Dallas this season excels at home. They have a plus 26-point differential, plus 136 net yard average at home, but on the road it's a different story. 0-point differential, minus 11 net yard average away from Dallas. 2-2 straight up and ATS in those spots this season. But now you have Philly. Basically, home and road splits, they're very similar in nature, but at home, they're plus 0.8-point differential, plus 72 net yard average, plus 1 turnover ratio, playing in Philly. Should be a high motivational spot here for Philly as well. I like to take teams going into they got their bye next week. They're going to leave everything out on the field. I like to take teams before their bye, not after their bye, because I think there's a little bit of rust in there. And guess what? Philly is in that spot here today. Looking at the history of this matchup, dating back to 2018, all you have to do is take the home team, because the home team is 7-1 straight up ATS when these two teams meet. I just think Philly is going to be super motivated in this spot, playing at home where they excel versus a Dallas team that hasn't really traveled well. And quite frankly, when they go against high-level, high upper-class opponents, they tend to falter. We saw it with the 49ers. I think we're going to see again here with the Eagles. 4:25 p.m. Eastern time. Eagles step up. I'm on the Eagles on this one, minus 3, 2-unit play.
And touch on, Jalen Hurts ran twice last week for 7 yards. Clearly a knee injury. This Eagles team clearly needs the bye that's coming next week. Yeah. And I want them in the futures market. Just how do you feel about this Eagles offense? Do you trust Swift being able to move the ball on the ground? Do you feel like without Hurts being able to also extend plays and get first downs and not really be able to leave the pocket, do you think that hurts them here today, or do you think that they have enough firepower to withstand all that?
I think to me, it doesn't really matter on that one because I think they're just a balanced offense. They can run the ball, they can pass the ball. They'll adjust with the injury for Hurts on this one. Maybe not taking so many the brotherly shoves on this one in 4th and 1 situations. Maybe that they cut down a little bit on that. But I think they're going to be able to move the ball versus this Dallas defense. And I think the key to this one is try to move it in the passing game more so in the running game. But I think this is going to be a hard-fought battle, division opponent. But I think if I'm going to be on one side on this one, I'm going to be on the home team regardless of the injury.
I like it. It was the first move I wanted to make, but I just felt I just didn't feel right about it. And honestly, and I've said this already, but I want the Cowboys to win here so I can move on the Eagles to win the division and move on them in the futures market. But I stayed off. But our guy Guns did not. -3 on the Eagles. Now let's talk about the Sunday nighter. Guns, Paycor Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio, Bills, Bengals. And a lot of cappers in the chat are going to like to hear your side of things on this one because we've only heard the other side thus far. Take it away, Guns.
Bills, yeah, we're circling the wagons here with the Buffalo Bills. I think this is a perfect spot here. Listen, I know how Buffalo's played. They've been played absolutely flat as of late. Last 4 games in particular, you look at those spots and break them down. They had to go play Jacksonville. They had to go to London. It was a bad spot for them because Jacksonville was in there for 2 weeks. They already were acclimated in the London time. Buffalo had to just kind of rush in there to go play in that game, and it ended up being a loss, 25-20. Then they go into the next week, coming back from London on a Sunday night game. They had to go play the New York Giants. New York Giants, not a good team at all. But they're just coming back from the London trip, and they had to go play Daboll. Daboll knows that offense better than anybody, and he knows Josh Allen. So it was a bad spot in that regard too. But they ended up getting the ugly win, 14-9. Then they played New England. New England, they just didn't show up in that one on the road versus a divisional opponent. They just let things happen as they may. Maybe a little bit tired from all the traveling or what have you. Who knows on that one? It was just a bad loss altogether. Then they had to play Tampa, and I think they controlled the game versus Tampa last week on Thursday Night Football. Garbage TD didn't get the cover on the Buffalo side, but there are plus 125 net yards in there. So basically, yardage domination just didn't show in the score. Buffalo's biggest weakness is on their defensive side is stopping the run. They give up 5.1 yards per carry to their opponent, 6.1 on the road. But fortunately, they're playing a Cincinnati team that, quite frankly, not a good rushing team. They only average 79 yards per game, 29th in the NFL at that. 3.7 yards per carry. They're 24th in the NFL at that. So they want to pass the ball. And that's going to play well into what Buffalo wants to do. Now you got to look at Cincinnati. They're off a road game versus San Francisco. And I've talked about this on my show. This is a trend. Every time teams played San Francisco, they go into the next week and they fall flat. They're 2-20 straight up in ATS in their next game following a 49ers game. And they're coming off a big victory on the road versus the 49ers. They looked exceptionally well, but I think the ball could have bounced a different way, and the 49ers could have won that game. Also, it's a revenge spot for Buffalo. 27-10, they lost in the playoffs at home in Buffalo. And I think they're going to be in a spot here, highly motivated versus Cincinnati. It's prime time, and every time Buffalo, you think they're done, you think they're finished, you think they're flat. When the lights shine brightest, like you saw against Miami in Week 4, they dominate their opponent and boat race them. I think this is going to be not only a Buffalo win. I got them at plus 2.5. I also got them on the money line, but I think this is going to be a high scoring affair as well. Lean towards the over on this one, but I love Buffalo here, plus 2.5, and sprinkle on the money line, 2-unit special.
Do you want to add the money line to your official?
Yeah, I did 2 units on the spread and half a unit on the money line.
But for our record keeping purposes, did you want to add the Bills money line to make it? Yeah. Okay, let's do that right now. And while I'm line shopping for you on the Bills money line here, I'm on the overs. I got them on Tuesday. I got first half over 23.5. I'm with no VIG minus 105. And then I got the 48.5 on Tuesday as well for the full game. We're at 51 now. But in part of it, we talked, it was about Matt Milano being out, how huge that is for opposition going up against Bills defense. And now AJ Klein is out as well. And, 2 huge, important linebackers out for the Bills. So they're going to have to score. They're going to have to score if they want to win this game. Rogue Energy on the other side, under 50.5, thinking that it's gone too high. Man Bear Pig, I knew that you wanted to hear our guy Guns being on the Bills, and we got that. So let's get this money line here for our guy Guns picks. Guns, tell us a little bit about shows you got going on that you want our chat to know about.
Yeah, I mean, I do a college football show on Fridays, Shark of the Gun, Knowledge for College on the Shark and Waters Nation channel. You can go check that out on YouTube. Also do a Sunday show, Circa Million show, where I give out my Circa Million picks, as well as give a full depth analysis on every single game on the Sunday card. And you can also check us out on Thursday night. We do Thursday night NFL, talking plays and talking a little bit of college as well. So go check it out. A lot of NBA content on there as well with the Shark. And of course, college basketball is going to be coming up. Going to have a show there as well. So a lot of content. Just go check it out on YouTube, Shark and Waters Nation channel, or just check me out on Twitter at Guns Picks.
I love it. And let's go over your action here. Actually, can you bring Guns back on for a second? Just go over his action. So Guns for us is on Houston -2.5. That's juiced now to -118. He's on the Eagles -3 at -108. And he's got the Bills +2.5 and the Bills money line at +115. Guns, thank you for your time, my man. Keep crushing it. And I love working with you. Have a giant Sunday, my friend. I'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
There he is. Guns Picks in the house. Now, for our last stop, we go to Las Vegas, Nevada, the city we all want to be in at all times. For our last guest, currently ranked 8 out of 25 cappers here on NFL PubHub, 7-7 plus 0.4 units, and ready to climb back into the top 5 where he's been most of the year. Having him back in action here. We haven't seen him since week 7. He's been with us week 3, week 6, week 7, and now here headlining this show. Please welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada, Dutch Boy Fresh. What's good?
Bag. Salute to you and all the real ones holding it down, my man. How we doing? Excuse me.
We are doing well, man. It's great to have you back in action with us. I know that you were had a late night last night, so thank you for making time for us, waking up early in the morning. That game ends in Kansas City, 21-14. Kansas City wins 21-14. And that is...
every time I have this fucking show with you, Jim, I'm sweating some early action. Last time it was the under the fucking Titans game, you know. This game, I have the Chiefs, obviously. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in the second half? Didn't like that third down call, but hey, we start off with a winner, my guy.
Nice job. Nice work. Let's get to your action here. And your first game, Commanders Patriots, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. You are on the other side of me. Now, we can both cash. We can both win. If the Patriots win by a field goal, you cash your 2.5, and I cash my 3.5 that I got on Tuesday on the Commanders. But take it away for us. We've already discussed this game and talked on it. How are you getting paid in Commanders Patriots?
Yeah, man. I know a lot of people. I don't like hearing that you're on the other side of that, but that is a good number you got there at the 3.5. I think the Patriots, man. I liked a little bit of what I've seen against the Bills. They do have somewhat of a suspect defense. The Bills obviously, but I just think Commanders are in sell mode. Really, I mean, they literally just dropped their 2 best defenders, and Young, and Sweat. Not to mention this team, 5 out of the last 7 games, Jim, they've given up 33 plus points or more. And now you're telling me you're going to lose your 2 big dogs. I just think they're in for some trouble. Obviously, and in clutch time, actually, say what you will about Mac Jones. I'm going to say clutch time, but a fourth quarter, because a lot of these games, obviously, for the Patriots, a couple of these games haven't really been close. But this number did stand out to me a little bit. In the fourth quarter, Mac Jones has a quarterback rating of 100.9. Which is good for 4th in the NFL. And on the other side of that, the Commanders allow a 102.8 quarterback rating in the 4th, which is actually 3rd worst in the NFL. I believe this game will be close. I think Mac Jones makes enough plays. As long as he doesn't turn the fucking ball over. He does have 8 turnovers and 8 interceptions in 8 games. That's not very fucking good. So just don't turn the ball over. But overall, I'm just not big on these Commanders. I like what I see sometimes out of this kid Howe, but he's still young. Still, the game, I believe, moves way too fast for him. I believe Bill Belichick and that defense will have something in store for him. And the Commanders, man, they're 1-5 straight up last 6, 0-3 last 3 meetings. Average loss by these boys, 16 points per game. I know it's a different Patriots team, but this Patriots team is 7-1 straight up last 8 in November. They do start funky. We tend to fade them, and then they seem to find a way to start winning when it counts a little bit here. I think Belichick has a running approach to this game. I think we see a little bit more of Stevenson and Elliott today. This is the 28th ranked, bottom tier ranked rush defense in the the Commanders, whatever the fuck you want to call And now, as I mentioned, you take off their two big horses on the defense of the front seven. I believe it's only going to go downhill. So yeah, I like the Patriots here, and a close football game, but I think they find a way to win it by a field goal.
Dutchy on the Patriots -2.5 at -115. We're on the other side of each other, but we can both win. So we've timed that out nicely. By the way, Dutchy tweeted out all of his action as well. So he locked in the lines. Let's move on to your next spot on the board. And it's the Seahawks Ravens. We go back to M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, 69 Fahrenheit, 77 miles per hour. And you have an interesting look here. And a couple of cappers in the chat are going to love hearing your action. Take it away here, Dutch. Seahawks Ravens.
Yeah, man, I like the Ravens here. I think I think Lamar's finding his stride, and the Ravens are finding their stride. They're a talented football team. I think they got a defense that plays together as well. And we know they got a coach that's going to, rally the boys and have them prepared to play every fucking Sunday. But Lamar, I mean, they've won 3 straight by an average of 15 points per game. And Lamar's been on his fucking shit, man. He's been playing football, man. 70% completion rating, 101 quarterback rating. Has averaged 5 yards per carry and 5 tucks through 8 football games. I believe it's only going to go up. Lamar is getting more comfortable. And I like what I'm seeing, not only from him, but the running backs around him. And he's got and this is probably the best receiving core he's had. And obviously we know Mark Andrews is, top tier tight end. Now the Seahawks, are 5-2, Jim. They've had a weak schedule, in my opinion. Only good win, I believe it's a real weak schedule. The only good win realistically is the Lions. And come November, I'm not big on this team. I'm not as high on Geno, and I believe teams, do figure it out a little bit. And Geno has been playing, way better than I even expected, carrying over from last year. I'll admit that. But overall, the Seahawks are 1-6 ATS last 7 games in November, and the Ravens at this time, when I looked at this, I do think the Ravens, a lot of people probably teased them, and I do think they're probably solid -6 up to 6.5. Anything under touchdowns probably good. But what I did, Jim, is I looked into a little bit deeper and noticed that the Ravens have been absolutely fucking money in the first quarter. Not only are they up at the end of the first quarter, they're 7-1 ATS first quarters this season. And I believe they covered in 6 or 5 out of the last 6. So I like the Ravens an awful lot here. I think they come out, smack Seattle in the fucking mouth. I believe Seattle's suspect. They do have some, a couple talented players in that secondary, but I don't think they'll be able to stop the run, and Lamar will be able to do what he wants. I like that first quarter look, -0.5. I got it at -115. I think they come out and up by a touchdown easy at the end of 1. You're muted, my guy.
It's a look that our guy Nasty Nate has also locked in with you. Ravens first quarter -0.5, -115. Nasty Nate being on the first quarter Ravens every week.
Damn, he's feeding his kids. He's feeding his motherfucking grown adult kids. Good shit, Mr. Trifecta.
Let's move on to the next spot on the board, and the 2 games that everybody wants to talk about. We're going to finish our show off on them. Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Cowboys, Eagles. Dutch, take it away.
Yeah, man. See, I know a lot of cats are on these Cowboys. I just don't see it, man. I mean, give me the better quarterback. We can actually say the better coach, and in my opinion, probably overall a better defense. I know Dallas people are high on that defense, but they tend to break to me. That I don't see it as much, especially in the secondary. And the Eagles, man. I mean, they're better on team, especially at the crib. They're 3-0 straight up this year at the house, 6-1 last 7 games in Philly. And they covered 9 out of the last 13 games at home on Sunday. So if you're betting the Philadelphia Eagles on a Sunday at the crib, you're profiting, just like we do with the first quarter of the fucking Baltimore Ravens. So I'm going to do it today, man. I like the Eagles here -3. I do think, the Cowboys have played very well against them of late. The Eagles have lost 4 out of the last 5 to them. And their last meeting, they lost last year, allowed a 40-piece to them, to the Cowboys. I believe the Eagles will remember that. They have a better defense, in my opinion, more healthier defense right now. And the secondary, to me, with Slay and Bradbury is really top tier. Both teams won at the crib last year. I do think home field is a big advantage here, but I simply believe the Eagles are just a better fucking football team. I think they have I think the most suspect part about the Cowboys is their running game. You can say what you will about Dak, but I mean, Pollard was nice, but he was nice as a 2. you're having him as a 1, really no one to replace him, bring him in. I think their running game is slight. I like CD Lamb, of course, and Dak could do his thing. But overall, I think the Eagles have their way at the house. We know these two teams don't like each other. We know the fans will be ready to rock the fucking roll. And I think the Eagles continue to do what they've been doing, and that's win football games. Eagles -3. It's good money.
Eagles -3, locked in at -110. Rogue Energy saying everybody going to melt down when the Eagles don't show up tonight. And Millsy in the house, a star of our live stream, UFC live streams. He is on AJ Brown over 6 receptions. Says that's the best prop of the game. And the chubby play of the day from Wick Chubb is Falcons -3. Says put your whole life on it. That's what he wants. He wants you to put your whole life on it.
Put the whole motherfucking life on it, huh?
Risk-
Now the Cowboys might win this game, might cover the 3. But one thing I will tell you is the Eagles will show up on fucking Sunday at home against the fucking Dallas Cowboys, bro. They hate these motherfuckers. So not saying it's a for sure thing by any means, but one thing's for sure. The Eagles will be ready to play football today.
Let's roll on to the final spot here on our show. After this, we will review everybody's action. We are still 15 minutes away from kickoff here on Week 9, Sunday, November 5th. Dachi, Bills, Bengals, Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. Take it away.
Yeah, man. Now, just I got the Bills Mafia jersey in there. It's Josh Allen, 1-7, man. I'm the biggest Josh Allen fan. But I'm on the Cincinnati Bengals -2.5, and Joe motherfucking cool. Because he's back. He's back to being cool. He's got his swag back. The Bengals are on the upswing. And the Bills just continue to win one, lose one. They do have the extra rest after beating the Buccaneers in a little bit better fashion than what we've seen them do against the fucking Giants, I guess, on Sunday night. So they do have a little bit of extra rest. But outside of that, man, I'm not too high on this Bills team. And the fact that Josh Allen needs to take care of the ball a little bit more, obviously, makes bonehead plays. But I mean, they're lacking. You get beat up by injuries. You get your top tier defenders out. You lose Dawson Knox now, which I believe was already. People are so. I'm Diggs is a stud. Don't get me wrong. Gabe Davis is nice. Shakur came around against the Bucs a little bit, but I think you need more. I think they needed to make an offseason move. They didn't make it, and I think we're seeing it. And now with Dawson Knox being out, I think the tight end role is going to be missing as well. Cook has been nice out of the backfield. They got to upgrade in the running game this year, but Josh Allen has seemed to take kind of somewhat of a step back. He has his moments. Obviously, we know he's lethal with his legs. I do think they'll make plays today, but overall, man, Joe Cool's fucking money right now. These last 3 games in this win streak, they're averaging 27 points per game. He's completing over 70% of his passes, got 8 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And this motherfucker just made San Francisco look like a varsity team on defense. And this is the top tier. This is everyone's patting these boys on the back all fucking year long. Them and the Browns, how good the defenses are. And I mean, and look what he did to San Francisco. He ate him up, bro. 3 touchdowns. I believe he only had 4 fucking incompletions for over 300 yards. So, and now you get a team that made Mac Jones look above average. Made Mac Jones look pretty damn good, actually, at moments. What do you think they're going to make Joe Cool look like? Chase and these boys, I think, get offense in Cincinnati at the crib. I like this game an awful lot, Jim. They're 3-0 ATS last 3 meetings, 2-1 straight up versus the Bills. And they're bet on at the crib, 9-1 straight up last 10 at home, 5-0 ATS last 5 games in November. And as I mentioned, the Bills have been up and down all year, 1-2 ATS on the road and straight up. 3-5 against the number all year against the number this year, and 2-5 straight up last 7 versus Cincinnati. So I mean, you give me a team that's playing better football. You give me a team that's feeling themselves. They're at the crib. It's under a field goal, and they usually handle business against these boys anyways. I mean, what the fuck are we thinking about? The Cincinnati Bengals -2.5 is good money.
I'm right there with you. It's going to be a very fun one. We just heard Guns a second ago on the other side of us with the Bills.
Yo, I fuck with Guns, but hey, stick to college, motherfucker. Nah. Hey, win or lose, man. Respect, but nah.
It's fun. It adds fun. It adds layers, extra layers when we're on other sides of each other. It's the people who take offense. I never could understand that. Like, this is all just, look, we're not against each other. We put our money where our mouth is. We deal with the consequences of that shit. And so I love it. Let's review Dutch's action here for week 9. Again, Dutch 8th right now at a 25 capper, 7-7 plus 0.4 units. Patriots -2.5 at -115. Ravens first quarter -0.5 at -115. Eagles -3 at -110. And Bengals -2.5 at -110, and he tweets all this action out. He also already, he tweeted the Chiefs were part of the action that he tweeted out, so he starts the day 1-0. Please follow Dutch here on X at Dutch Boy Fresh. You can also catch him on Betting with the Bag on Wednesdays, and we are in the works trying to get a basketball show here going for you guys. So we're talking about all of that. Dutch, thank you so much for your time. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Yeah, man. Let's have a motherfucking profitable Sunday. Be sure to check us out tomorrow morning right here on Plus Sports Radio. Medicate Mondays. Me and the whole motherfucking crew. We're going in. We'll come out with the bag. Believe it. But today, also shout out to my guy Guillermo Zatucci. I know he's out there doing his thing with the crew. I see you, my dude. Salute. But let's get this money, my man, Jim. Let's have a big fucking Sunday. Y'all stay fresh.
Let's do it. There he is, Dutch Boy Fresh. Dixon Sider, Spenny Penny Bombs. We got Jason Meyer rolling in with their action here. Londo's action as well. Big Lucci, thank you for the kind words. Tori Coker says, let's eat. Let's review all action. We just reviewed Dutch's action. Let's review everybody else's action. And for those of you who are members and are parts of our big Cappers contest show, Guillermo Zertucci is winning the Cappers contest right now. He's been spectacular this year. And in our Pub Sports Circa Millions, we're coming off a 4-1 week. We've already cashed with the Steelers. It could become exciting here. We have the Colts -2.5, the Bengals -1.5, the Browns -7.5, and the Rams +3. Bobano gave us Falcons -3.5 and the over 37.5. So he's on the Falcons -3.5. And our guy Whit Chubb, that's the Chubb play of the day, chubby play of the day. So Seahawks +6.5 and the over 43.5 for Bobano. He's on the Texans money line -144. He's on the over 40.5 in Commanders Patriots. He's on Panthers +2.5 and the over 44.5 in Colts Panthers. He's on Eagles -3 and the over 46.5 in Cowboys Eagles. And he's on the Bills Bengals over 49.5 and the Bengals money line. Sean Higgs 3-1 in his first appearance here on NFL Pub Up. He's on the over 44 in Seattle Baltimore, the over 37 in the Giants Raiders money line, and the Cowboys +3 and the Bengals -2. That is what our guy Sean Higgs is on. Brizzy gave us Demario Douglas over 45.5 receiving yards and 70 or more +225. Brizzy is ranked second in NFL Pub Hub right now, +4 units on the season after 5 weeks of the show. And he's on Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown at +105. Saquon Barkley +105. Strategic investments looking at the Colts +3.5. And Lamont Williams, New Orleans Saints first half money line is his max bet for Lamont here. So let's move on to Mr. Gokster. Mr. Gokster, who I wanted to get him back. He got crushed here on the show in week 1. He was fifth last year out of 23 cappers, plus 9.89 units on the show. Wanted to bring him back. He has all of his action on the Bills-Bengals game, and this succeeded for him last year. He's got Josh Allen interception and Kincaid over 2.5 receptions. That's the same gamer at plus 110 parlay. He's got Irv Smith over 12.5 receiving yards at even money. And he's got both teams to score TDs in each half at plus 110. It's a really interesting look. Then our guy Marley from Brothers and Bets joined us. He's on the under 38 in Rams Packers. He's on the under 38.5 in Giants Raiders. He's on the Eagles -3 at -109, Bengals -2 at -106. Then we had Guns Picks joining us. He's on Houston -2.5, -118. Big market move towards the Texans. It makes me very nervous, very uncomfortable. Eagles -3 at -108, and he's on Bills +2.5 and the Bills money line at plus 115. That is our show for today. We have 7 minutes before kickoff, and I'm going to get in my Bengals futures right now. I'm going to bet them right now. I've just been trying to decide exactly how much to bet here. And the thing is, you know, with a lot of people believing in the Bills here, you know, I'm not, of course, you know, I'm on the Bengals, but if the Bills do win, I wouldn't mind hitting it again. So I think because of that, I'm only going to put 200 on each right now. That will allow me to double down if they lose here. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go do that right now. I love it. Whit Chubb, Man Bear Pig, Londo, Lamont Williams, WT, Don Play, Big Lucci, Perky Sanderson. What a great group we have. I love all you guys. Tori Coker, Dixon Sider, Rogue Energy. Rogue, I love your looks on today's card. I think you're going to have a big day. Spenny Penny Bombs, Jason Meyer, Guillermo Zertucci, Millsy, MMA Locker Room. Thank you guys so much. Nunya, Coin, Raymond Reichart, Nasty Nate. Thank you guys. Professor Chris, Strategic Investments, Cam Raphael, Ian Shaber, BJ. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Truly, truly, thank you. We have no show without you guys. Gagnon, Ramon Scott, VPs 100. That's Von Polo. Christopher Comentini. We got Jimmy the Drunk. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Good. Thank you. Equinimus. All you guys, thank you so much. 6 minutes away from kickoff. Let's go out there and let's get that cash. A big thank you to the producer of this show, Jose Bouquet, who works tirelessly making these shows look so good. Thank you for all your hard work, Jose. It means a ton to us. On behalf of all of us here at Pub Sports Radio, thank you for watching. Now let's go get paid. Kickoff in 5 minutes, baby. And don't forget, in 5 minutes, we have our big Red Zone live stream hosted by Sharpie. That's popping off in 5 minutes. And as Jared TG says, let's have a profitable day, everybody. Let's milk these bookies. Leche! Hey, los bookmakers.